Hi, and welcome back to On the Move, where we go behind the scenes of some of Forsyth County's larger construction projects. Today, we're on the southern end of the county, back at Old Atlanta Road, where progress is continuing here, and we're looking forward to the future and getting this widening done. John Jefferson, Director of Capital Projects, we appreciate your time as always. John, heading into the fall time, just how busy are you guys at Capital Projects right now?
Very busy, yes.
Simple answer, and also a very complicated one. A lot happening here.
Yep.
We're going to be talking about some things on the north end of the county next time we speak, but here on the south end here, Old Atlanta Road behind us. For those that don't know, what exactly is this project that's occurring right now?
So we're widening. This is the last segment of Old Atlanta. That's 2 lanes that we're widening to 4. It extends from James Burgess down to essentially the entrance to St. Marlo. It's about 3.5 miles.
Yeah, and 3.5 miles, that's one you think about in the grand scheme, it's like 3.5 miles. That's not that far, right? It's not that far, but in your world, it's a little bit more complicated than that, right? What are some of the hurdles this project has had to overcome? Because I know there's been many here. It's been a little bit more complicated than a lot of people probably realize.
Sure. We have 14 or 15 separate utilities. I'm not going to try and name them all. I'm going to leave some of them out, but for example, Georgia Transmission has facilities here, the large, tall transmission lines. Sony EMC has facilities here. AT&T, Comcast, Zayo, and again, I'm leaving out some of the telecoms. We got Atlanta Gas has got underground facilities here. Some of the power and telecom utilities have overground and underground facilities. So it's complex. I'm not trying to make excuses, but it's complex. The county doesn't have any direct control. Those are private utilities that are regulated by the Public Service Commission, and we, are asking them to get out of the way of the road widening. And in most cases, although not all cases, in most cases that's at their expense. That's the way the law is written. So it's a challenge to get everybody to identify what they've got to do, get on their schedule, coordinate everybody's schedule. You got 13, 14, 15 utilities, the roadway contractor. It's a lot to coordinate, and frankly, things don't happen like I want them to happen frequently, but that's what we've got to do.
And even looking where we are right now here at James Burgess, you can see the amount of paint on the ground, which means different utilities, different colors. You've probably seen it before, but along this corridor here especially, just so many of those utilities creating quite a lot of coordination that had to occur. Let's talk about the timeline for this project, John. What are we looking at now for when this will officially be done, and maybe what are some of the next steps right now?
Sure. So we're doing everything we can to push it. If you remember, this is a design build project. So the county had a design mostly finished a number of years ago. It was put on the shelf. We brought it back off the shelf, advertised it as a design build project. The design builder team had to take that design and finish the design, which they've done, and now we're implementing it. That took probably close to a year. So we've been under construction more than a year. And again, in a widening project, we've got to build part of the road, get traffic onto that part of the road so we can work on widening the other part of the road. So it's not like we can blow through and do it all at one time.
Sure.
That'd be great, but we'd have to shut down the entire corridor. So it's more time consuming to widen a road that's under traffic so we can keep it open and folks can have access to their homes. Businesses and people that are passing through can still go through.
Design build, you talked about it there, and that's something that I've recently learned not too long ago what exactly that means.
Yep.
What is that? Well, why is that important when you say a design build project versus what's the alternative?
So most of the time transportation projects are design, bid, build. That's a very linear approach to project delivery. You finish the design, which in some cases can take years. Then you advertise, you bid, you review the bid, you award generally to the low bidder, and then you go under construction. The concept behind design build is you can overlap the design process with the construction process, which we were able to do that. Some of that here. We split the project into phase 4 and phase 5. We released the phase 5 documents first before the phase 4. so the contractor can start while we were finishing up the design on phase 4. Same thing with the utilities. The utility relocations could start sooner than they would under a typical design bid build delivery method.
And having a design build in your back pocket as a tool to utilize, that's something that not every county has access to, right? That's pretty new.
Well, it is new. It's state law now, and I don't know this for certain, but I'm guessing if we weren't the first, we were one of the first. Once the legislature changed the law to allow municipalities to do design build, we jumped on that opportunity.
And that's where John Jefferson and Capital Projects team comes into play, and is so important here, folks. For those that don't know, Capital Projects, not every county has a team like this for John Jefferson, with John Jefferson and his team and what they do here in the county. So John, for those that don't know, we talk all the time about projects, and we focus on those specifically, but what about for you and your team? What is it that makes Capital Projects so unique here in Forsyth County, and why this team is so successful in delivering projects?
So we're a project management office. If you're familiar with the project management world, we would not, I say this all the time, we would not exist without the operating departments in the county. So you take engineering, for example, they're responsible for road maintenance, signal maintenance, sign maintenance, cutting the grass, taking care of the right-of-way, fixing potholes, resurfacing, planning for the future. That's a full-time job in and of itself. Same with the water department, same with other departments that we do projects for. They've got full-time jobs, and then when I call it parachute in a large capital project, it takes an enormous amount of resources and effort and focus, and that's our job, is to take some of that burden off, although we coordinate and work with the other operating departments nearly on a daily basis to make sure that we're implementing their vision and what is necessary. We take that day-to-day burden of managing and coordinating the individual utilities and with a contractor off of them so they can focus on their primary mission, and we can focus on delivering the large capital project. And when we get done with it, we turn it back over to the operating department.
It's very cliched, but you hear the phrase one hand talking to the other in government, and how important that is to getting projects done. And for you, John, it's not just one hand talking to another. You're talking about 15 hands with this project here, with the number of utilities, the engineering department, the state. There's a lot that goes into something like this. And none of it gets done, though, without funding, right? So a project like this one, as big as it is here at Old Atlanta, requires a great funding source. That's exactly what it has here with the SPLOST program. This project's funded by SPLOST 7 and SPLOST 8, as well as impact fees and capital outlay funds. Without those taxpayer dollars through SPLOST, projects like this definitely get put on the back burner and take a long time to get going because of that funding. All right, John, let's just talk about next steps here for this project. What can commuters expect here over the next few months as we continue down the road and getting closer to opening up fully?
So if you drive this corridor or are familiar with it, we've been relocating utilities for, like I said, over a year now.
Yeah.
Some of those utilities are starting to wrap up. Atlanta Gas Light, for example, should finish up along the entire corridor by about the middle of August, so a couple of 3 weeks from now. Then we've got other utilities that are somewhere along their progress, from zero, not starting to 100%. I've got a staff member, Chris Cade, who his function is to follow up with each of the utilities, make sure they're staying on track. If they run into an obstacle, help them identify the obstacle, and then figure out what as the county can we do to help remove that obstacle. So I've got staff dedicated to that. They work with the utility contractors as well as the roadway contractor, who's got a utility coordinator on staff as part of their staff to make sure that the utility relocations are moving. While that's going on, we're trying to work on the roadway widening. We've got 19 or 20 retaining walls to build. We've got some of those constructed, some of those are in construction, and some of those we're close to being able to release as soon as we get a couple of utilities out of the way. So we're trying to do multiple things at the same time, and any roadway project, once it gets under construction, is going to be trying to do the same thing. So we're doing as much as we can, as quickly as we can.
You know, John, if down the road when you reach that retirement point here in the Forsyth County, maybe a career in juggling is for you. The amount of things you're having to juggle here with your team on projects like this one here at Old Atlanta Road. Well, we're going to have a lot more updates on this project as it continues down the road here. More progress happening just behind us. Again, we're at the corner of James Burgess and Old Atlanta, just at the top end of this project. So on the south end, you'll see a lot more development there, all the way down to St. Marlo. John, we really appreciate the time as always. And next, we'll be going back up to 369. We've got some exciting news going on there at 369 and 400. You don't want to miss out on that detail coming up here over the next handful of days. We'll have another on the move coming up here in just a few days. John Jefferson, thanks as always for what you and the Capital Projects team does here in Forsyth County, and juggling all the communications you have to do, and also coming and talking to us. We really appreciate it.
Well, I enjoy it, Russell, and thank you.
All right, we'll catch you next time on The Move. Thanks so much for watching. As always, get more information online at forsythco.com, at TV Forsyth, Comcast Channel 23, AT&T Channel 99, and of course on our social media channels. So long for now. Thanks for watching.